Okay, so let's get it show on the road. Hello, everybody. Today we're just gonna do a quick trade review. These are a couple of trades I took live today, and I just wanted to review the London strategy with you all. I don't know whether to show my P&L. I'm thinking of showing, but I'm doing the challenge with this, so I don't even feel like showing it right now. But these are a couple of strategies. You can go check it out. I almost did not make this video because I don't have the replay tool on. My trading view is on the free version because all my back testing I did it on FX replay, right? And I'm done with back testing now. I'm just generally as I'm taking the trades. I barely use any indicators, so free version is good to go for me. But notwithstanding, I think those that are really hungry to learn something new, that would be the list of their issues. And those are the people that I know will stay to the end of this video because I know most people probably expecting all this and that YouTube video. They want to see what they're gonna, those. If you're in that category of people, might as well stop watching now. All right. But this video, if you have been looking for one thing, because at the end of the day, if you want to win in this game, you're gonna need one strategy that you can bank on, and or a couple, right? Depending on you. For example, I trade two different strategies, but I trade them on different accounts. I don't trade them on the same account. So, where was I? Yes, showing you guys the strategy. So this is pretty simple. If you notice, there is an indicator that shows sessions that is on my screen right now. Okay, so I think I should give you guys fresh tips about this. So concerning this strategy, we are going to be trading only the GBP USD, GBP JPY, and gold. Okay, GBP USD, GBP JPY, gold, exactly. Okay, if you're changing a funded challenge, make sure you're using an exchange that your funded challenge broker is using. For example, mine, I'm using 8CAP. Okay, so just make sure yours aligns with your own. If you're using MFA for FTM, we'll figure out what that one is for you. Wow, that was unexpected. So moving on. So here's the strategy basically. First thing you're going to do, set your time to New York time, all right? And then you mark out these different times. You're going to mark out 3 o'clock, that's 3 a.m. You're going to mark out your 8 a.m. And then you're going to mark out your 7 p.m. Okay? And this is how we're going to delineate it. For the purpose of this strategy, we're going to consider 7 p.m. to 3 a.m. as the Asian session. We're going to consider 3 a.m. to 8 a.m. as the London session, and then 8 a.m. till 7 p.m. as the New York session. Okay, so that's just for the purpose of this strategy. Okay, let's not get into the nitty-gritty of what opens when. Okay, that's for the purpose of this. So the next thing you're going to do is to mark out the high and low of each of those sections. Okay, so if I'm showing up in the London, the trades I took today were in the London session. So I took it, I didn't want to do much trading in the New York session because of the CPI news of today. So I just wanted to tidy up my London session trading. So what would I do? I would mark out the high and low of each section. All right. And that will be here. So this, if I'm to delineate this, you can see this is my 7 p.m. Okay, let me make sure this is big enough for everybody to see. So this is 7 p.m. Sorry, where was that? Yeah, this is 7 p.m. This was 3 a.m. Okay, my time. Currently in Lagos, Nigeria. So my time, that was earlier also this morning around 8 a.m. So by 8 a.m. or just before 8 a.m. my chance to mark out, I'll mark out the highs and lows of the previous sessions. So I'm going to mark this out. Or I would have marked this out, but if you notice, even during the Asian session, this high was taken. Okay, so I was looking for the next high to be taken. So here's essentially the strategy. It is a sweep of liquidity, sweep, what's going on? My text is, sweep of of, let's just call it Asian high, or session high or low, okay? Session high / low. And then we're looking for a break of structure in the opposite direction. Then you can target 2R or more, depending on your what's it called now, and what you want your model to be, what you want it to be. Okay, so this is essentially the rules, and it's super simple. So I'm hoping this video will be short-ish. So since I've already taken this, I was looking out for the next high. If you notice this high right here, let me increase the brightness of this because I outlined it should be brighter. Cool. So this high right here was what session was this? This was a London session on Monday. Okay, it was just pretty close by, and I was just looking for a key point of liquidity. So I just marked it out as a potential liquidity sweep. Usually, you might ask, why didn't I take this as the high of this session and wait for a liquidity sweep? Anytime the high is like in a progression. Let me explain what I mean. If I was to take this, if I was to consider this Asian high right here, the high I'm looking to be taken out, I like to see price do something like this, create a high, come down a bit significantly before going to take it out. Not that it's around the high already and it's just continuing upwards, and then we'll consider that as a sweep of liquidity. I don't usually like those kind of trades, but I like this one here. So clearly, you're going to see, and by the way, we'll mark this out. Any session you do it, I suppose it's cool. I leave it on a 30-minute because the person I learned this from, this strategy, he usually marks out the weeks, and but because sometimes it doesn't actually take the liquidity and then it sweeps downwards. Okay, it just comes into that box area and then you can look for a break of structure. But technically, I like my own being swept, even though just a tap into that place most of the time it works as well. So once it sweeps that liquidity, I'm looking for a break of structure downwards, and then I'm looking for my trade. Okay, so once I mark out the high for the session, what do? I come to the 3-minute time frame, all right, or the 1-minute time frame where I'm looking for 3 minutes. All right, if you're just starting, use the 3-minute, because I don't always use the 1 minute. Honestly, I have to see usually breakout block on the 1 minute to take the trade. Yeah, so let me look for, where was this trade on the, okay, here, excellent. So this is where it was. So this is the point where it broke that liquidity. Okay, 3-minute time frame. It came here, right? This was our swing low at this point. So we're looking for a close of a candle below this point, and once it closes below, we'll take the trade. So you can see at this point, this candle did not close below. Let me get an info line. This candle did not close below this. You can see this was above, so I didn't enter. But once this one closed below this swing low, I was good to go. So that's essentially what I did. Okay, so this would have been stop loss above this high, and then we just look for my 2R. Okay, I just look for my 2R. Some people would say put your first take profit. It depends on your model. Honestly, I don't do TP1, TP2, TP3. I just go into my trade. If it hits stop loss, it hits it. If it hits take profit, it hits take profit. Thankfully, it hits take profit most of the time. Okay, so I just shoot for my 2 out there. I took 2 trades. One was on GBP JPY. One was on gold. It also set up on GBP USD, but I didn't take up the GBP USD trade because I don't trade GBP. Those two move most of the time move very similarly. So I didn't see the point of taking a GU trade when I was already in a GJ trade. Okay. So the other one that set up later in the day was gold. Let me look at gold right now. This is gold was also in the London session. So let's just look for its Asian high real quick. Okay. Or was it Asian low? Okay, yeah, cool. So this was gold's this was the, by the way, remember this is the markout. This yellow is the Asian. So this was from 7 p.m. New York time to 3 a.m. New York time. All right. So I marked out the high and then I marked out the low, and I was waiting for a sweep in one direction. And the one that got swept first was this. Okay. Got swept right here. So let's look at what price did. Let's mark out this area so that it's easier for us to spot when we go display that price to liquidity. So let's go to 3 minute time frame. Let's see what happened. No, I'm sorry, I think we marked out the wrong one because this is New York session. Yeah, this is 8:30. All right, we marked out the wrong one. All right, where are we? I'm really trying to find where we are. Okay, would you look at that? That means I got a big. Would you look at? I'm just finding that out now that I'm reviewing this with you guys. Looks like I got a bit lucky with the gold trade because this right here, how do I describe it for you guys now? This was my Asian session, yeah, and my London started here. These are the lows that I was looking to be swept, guys. Honestly, these lows right here, I didn't even know there was like a lower low here. So in my eyes, this was the low that was to be swept. Okay, so possibly, I don't know what to call it, lucky one, or it is what it is. But that would have been a strong trade as well, because if you notice, it swept this liquidity and then came into a fair value gap on the higher time frame. But that's not my trading style. So I suppose I thank God for this one, yeah. As I always do anyways, both this one and others. So this was the breakup structure I was looking for. Price came here, made this high, it broke above it, so I entered here. Long, stop loss below, right? No, for my quick let me see where this went. This is wild. Absolutely wild. We even hit the 2 hour, but this one, it hit this. I think I considered this because it hit my TP. I think I took this as my high since it was so close already, and I didn't want to risk it. So that was that. But I hope you guys are getting the idea. Right? This gold trade, admittedly, um, looks like I got a bit fortunate with it because just because I didn't mark up my hand. Let me look at it on the 1 minute. Right? I got more than I bargained for on that trade. Um, so yeah. So yeah, I remember once it was getting around here before after I saw this movement. Now I remember, I think I closed my trade somewhere around here. I wanted to hold on for longer, but I mean I had already made very significant profit. I just closed it out because I think at that point I was on plus 5R. Yeah, I was on not from just this trade, from other trades I had made in the day. My account and yesterday as well, my account was going to be positive 5% in profit. So once I got that 5%, I didn't care about the rest of the movement. I just closed it out. So, but I took a gold trade yesterday that followed this exact pattern I showed you guys. So you guys can go back test that. I cannot believe this was not the low for that session. Incredible, incredible. I don't know how I got it, but anyways, we all learn. So moving on to my macro session trade. So this is how I trade macro. Uh, If you're new, do not trade. Shouldn't have traded today because of today was CPI. But I knew what I was looking for. I knew what to invalidate my looking for the trade setup and what would not. So for the macro trade, you're coming to this charts by exactly, you're watching out from 10 a.m. But from 9:50, 9:55, you can start marking out 5 minute highs and lows. So where was our 9? This was 9:55. So I marked out this low. All right, and then I marked out this high, and I was looking for price to go in one direction for two things actually. Okay, so I was looking for price to either create a 1 minute swing because my bias was that this was going to go downwards. Now I don't want to start adding bias because bias is now subjective and then determines a lot of things. And if you're new, you might be wondering, oh, where should my bias be? So let me just try and explain that to you, why I thought it would go lower. Even though for this strategy, it honestly does not matter that much. If price had swept this low and pushed up, I would have been inside that trade, right? But whichever one it pushed in favor, preferably what I would have preferred, because after 9:30, I usually check if there's a fair value gap from 9:30 or higher time frame fair value gap. Okay, so if price forms like a high on a 1 minute, 2 minute, 3 minute time frame, and then by 10 o'clock sweeps that high, and then reverses, sweeps that high, enters the fair value gap, and then creates a market structure shift in the opposite direction, then I would enter the trade. So this is exactly what happened. So before the trade started, you can check what I mean by that in my previous video. In my previous video, I did that one live. This one, I just wanted to focus on trade. I didn't want to trade live today because today was CPI. And you don't want to, it's very easy for people to learn the wrong thing when you're trying to do good. You don't want to encourage people that are entirely new to trade CPI. It was a personal risk I was willing to take on my account. I didn't want any other person to take that with me as well. So, by the way, if you haven't liked this video at this point, just pause and like. If you haven't subscribed, just pause and subscribe now. Okay. So, this was where is our, so this was, price was around here by 9:50. I think it came on my chart by 9:50. So price was still around here. So I marked that low, marked this high, marked out this fair value gap. All right. So if price retraced into this, I was good to go. But like I said, forget what I said about bias, because even with the wrong bias, you could win. Okay, just wait to see which low it would sweep, especially if it was into a fair value gap. If price had swept downwards, entered this fair value gap here and pushed upward, I would have taken it personally. Okay. So, but let's see what price did. So this one, we mark it on the 5 minute, then we go down to the 1 minute time frame. Okay, so very important. Let's see what price did. So you can see on the 1 minute time frame, there was this high here, which was perfect because it was seated above the fair value gap. So I was waiting for price to take, remove this. I was waiting for price to take this high as well. Take this high, enter the fair value gap, and then create a market structure shift. And you can see that price closed below. Now, this is the thing about my entry. Okay, the safe entry would have been for you to enter this trade here. Once price close, look at this market structure shift. Price close, won't have entered here because it didn't close below this. We won't have entered here, won't have entered here. But even though it went down, it didn't close below. But once it closed below, this would have been our entry. Ideally, I say ideally for a reason because I'm going to show you guys something real quick. Ideally, you put this here, stop loss above, right? And then, in this case, honestly, this is all you would have been targeting. Even though it's 1.61, right? If this is where you can now, take off some partials. If you want, you can move stocks to break even. Personally, most of the time, I just let it run for at least 2 hours. I'm just telling you guys how I do my own, okay? Most of the time. But there are some instances where if I already made some money from that day and I just want to tidy up the trade, I don't want to stay on the charts for long, right? I just close it out because personally, this is where I exited this trade. because I was looking at this point, you know, that even though it's not something I would consider another block, right? It's not even another block, but I knew that price might react from this point. So that's where I put my take profit. Now, this is why I was saying ideally you should have entered here, but this is where I got it. Okay. Why? Because this exchange right now is Rwanda. All right. I was trading this on my MFF account. On my MFF, this was a low actually. Over here on Rwanda, it looks like it's equal lows with this one, right? But if I go to the one that is closer to the MFF challenge prices, which is this other one that's written US 500. Jeez, I hope I can find it here. Yeah, cool. So it was a low, okay? It was a low. You can see it was significant low. This and this are higher than it. It formed the low, all right? And then price did a skipping thing because that's just how the exchange is. For example, you notice on this one, the other chart I showed you is CFD, so you are less likely to see all these jumps of volume imbalances. You know, it's not like your typical charts. But you can see that this blue candle started from here. So I took that honestly to mean that this actually closed below. And if we check, wow, excuse me, guys. Now, if we go back here, you see that price actually closed below. We go back to the CFD one. Okay, you will see that price actually closed below that same candle, right? See this? I hope you guys are actually seeing it. See this price closed this close. Let me draw it out. Use the magnet so you guys can see. This is it, and price closed below it. Okay, so for me, that was good enough. Okay, that was good enough. Of course, I'm just here to show you guys some tips. You can back test this yourself. Okay, so personally, I got in on the most price closed below. I got in, so I was out here because you know it already gave me my 2.4 hour, which is what I took, and I was happy with it. Even though you know you see price went further below, but that was none of my business at this point. I was just happy with my 2+ hour. And that wraps up this session. Okay, so I trust you guys learned this. I'll try to do this very often, probably on a daily basis. If you have any question, I'm going to leave my Twitter handle. My Twitter is Marco_, right? I'm going to leave my Twitter handle in the description. Just send me a DM on Twitter. Please like this video. Please subscribe to this video because we're doing amazing things. Follow me on Twitter because we are developing a fantastic community. I'll be bringing in this trade. So if you want to keep up with the videos, I'm going to do this daily. Some will be live sessions, some will be recorded reviews like this. Okay, depending on what my schedule is. So I will see you all later.